From the dawn of Hollywood's golden age, audiences expected certain things when they sat down in the dark. Heroes to triumph, lovers to reunite, and justice to prevail before the final reel faded to black. But every so often, a director dared to defy that unwritten contract, and in doing so ignited outrage that echoed through movie theaters around the world. Today, we're diving into 12 classic films whose shocking endings sent audiences storming out, writing furious letters, and in some cases, demanding that the studios change the finale altogether. From Casablanca's heart-wrenching sacrifice to the nihilism of Sunset Boulevard, these are the stories behind the most infuriating, misunderstood, and ultimately revered endings in Hollywood history. That if this kind of story touches your heart, if you're someone who cares about truth, responsibility, and speaking up for the voiceless, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who should hear it. Let's get started. Number 12, Casablanca, 1942, The Sacrifice No One Expected. When audiences first lined up in 1942 to see Casablanca, they thought they were getting a romantic adventure, Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman rekindling their love under the fog-drenched skies of war-torn Morocco. But when Rick Blaine chose to send Ilsa onto that plane with her husband, leaving himself behind in Casablanca, gasps filled theaters. People were stunned. During wartime, viewers longed for happy endings, for reassurance that love could conquer the chaos of global conflict. Instead, director Michael Curtiz and writers Julius and Philip Epstein gave them a moral sacrifice, a love story that bowed to duty. Contemporary critics called it heartbreaking and even cruel. But over the decades, that bittersweet farewell, "Will always have Paris," became the very definition of cinematic nobility. What was once considered tragic became timeless. Number 11, The Gold Rush, 1925 laughter that hurt to watch. Charlie Chaplin's The Gold Rush remains a comedy masterpiece, but its ending divided audiences who expected simple slapstick joy. After enduring starvation, loneliness, and humiliation, Chaplin's tramp finds gold and wins the girl. Yet his final expression is ambiguous, almost mournful. Many early critics didn't know what to make of that last shot. Was it triumph or melancholy disguised as comedy? Some felt betrayed, expecting belly laughs, not emotional complexity. Chaplin himself said he wanted audiences to laugh, but also feel, to glimpse the quiet pain beneath the laughter. In hindsight, that ending became the bridge between silent comedy and psychological storytelling. Number 10, Sunset Boulevard, 1950 Hollywood turns the gun on itself. When Billy Wilder released Sunset Boulevard, audiences were appalled. A dead man narrating his own murder? A faded starlet delusional enough to shoot her lover and waltz down the stairs into madness? Critics called it grotesque and un-American. Hollywood insiders hated it even more. The industry accused Wilder of airing its dirty laundry, its obsession with fame, its cruelty toward aging actresses, its moral decay. At the film's premiere, studio executives reportedly sat in stunned silence as Gloria Swanson's Norma Desmond whispered, "All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up." But what once seemed like a vicious parody is now hailed as one of the most brutally honest portraits of Hollywood ever put on film. The ending, once reviled, is now legend. Number 9, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, 1920 madness behind the curtain. Robert Wiene's The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari shocked Post, World War I audiences with its twisted visuals and even more twisted ending. Viewers were led to believe they were watching a story about a sadistic hypnotist who uses a somnambulist to commit murder. But the final scene revealed that the storyteller himself was insane, and everything we'd seen was an illusion. Audiences were furious. They felt deceived. Some accused the filmmakers of mocking their intelligence. But that subversive ending, the revelation that the narrator is unreliable, laid the groundwork for modern psychological thrillers. Without Caligari, there might be no Fight Club or Shutter Island. What was once infuriating became foundational. Number 8, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, 1948 greed blown to dust. When The Treasure of the Sierra Madre premiered, viewers expected a rugged adventure about prospectors striking it rich. What they got was a parable about human greed and self-destruction. Humphrey Bogart's character, Fred C. Dobbs, descends into paranoia and madness, only to be killed before he ever enjoys his fortune. The gold he died for is scattered to the wind. Critics at the time found the ending grim and unsatisfying. Audiences had come for heroism, not futility. But director John Huston was ahead of his time. His unflinching ending stripped away Hollywood's myth of the noble adventurer and exposed the corrosive power of greed. Decades later, the film's conclusion is studied in film schools as one of cinema's most powerful moral reversals. Number 7, Vertigo, 1958, Hitchcock's nightmare of obsession. When Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo was released, many walked out of theaters bewildered. Some called it perverse, others simply depressing. After all, who wanted to see James Stewart, America's everyman, unravel into obsession and despair, only to lose the same woman twice? The film's bleak conclusion, where the truth is revealed and tragedy strikes again, angered fans expecting a neat resolution. Even critics labeled it a failure. But time transformed Vertigo from disaster to masterpiece. Today, its ending is seen not as nihilistic, but as one of cinema's most haunting meditations on loss, illusion, and the destructive pursuit of control. Ironically, the film Hitchcock was most criticized for is now regarded as his greatest work. Number 6, Psycho, 1960, the death that changed everything. Imagine sitting in a theater in 1960, expecting another Janet Leigh romance thriller, then watching her stabbed to death halfway through the film. Audiences were horrified. Many stormed out. Some accused Hitchcock of fraud for killing off his star so soon. And then came the ending. Norman Bates, alone, speaking in his mother's voice, grinning at the camera as a skull flickers over his face. Viewers described it as sick, shocking, indecent. The censors nearly banned it. But Hitchcock didn't just end a story, he ended an era. Psycho broke the rules of narrative and morality, making audiences realize that no one was safe. Its ending forced cinema to grow up, even if people weren't ready. Number 5, Mildred Pierce, 1945, The Sin of Success. Joan Crawford's comeback film gave audiences a melodrama with a sting. Mildred Pierce told the story of a mother who sacrifices everything for her daughter, only to be betrayed in the worst possible way. The shocking finale, where Mildred's beloved daughter is revealed as a murderer, provoked outrage. Many called it punishment for ambition, accusing the film of moral hypocrisy. Yet behind the scandal was a subtle commentary on gender roles, class, and post-war disillusionment. Today, that ending is seen as a bold statement on the impossibility of perfection and a masterstroke that saved Crawford's career. Number 4, The Grapes of Wrath, 1940, Hope and Despair. When John Ford adapted John Steinbeck's Dust Bowl novel, audiences expected social realism, but not the ending he delivered. Instead of triumph, they got a quiet, bittersweet acceptance of suffering. Henry Fonda's Tom Joad walks into the darkness, his words echoing through the final frames. "I'll be there wherever there's a fight, so hungry people can eat." Many Depression-era moviegoers, exhausted by hardship, found the ending demoralizing. Yet that haunting finale transformed The Grapes of Wrath into an anthem of resilience. A film that dared to tell the truth about America's pain. Number 3, A Place in the Sun, 1951, The Price of Desire. Montgomery Clift and Elizabeth Taylor dazzled audiences in A Place in the Sun, a tale of love, ambition, and moral collapse. But its ending left many shaken. Clift's character, George Eastman, faces execution for a murder born of desperation. The courtroom scenes built sympathy, yet the film refused to grant absolution. Many 1950s audiences were unprepared for such moral ambiguity. They wanted redemption. Instead, they got a devastating reckoning. Over time, though, that ambiguity became the film's genius. It captured the tension between the American dream and the moral cost of chasing it, a theme that still resonates today. Number 2, Citizen Kane, 1941, The Word That Meant Everything and Nothing. When Orson Welles' Citizen Kane debuted, many left theaters scratching their heads. The mysterious final word, rosebud, was supposed to explain everything, but to some, it felt meaningless. After 2 hours of psychological and journalistic unraveling, the revelation, A Childhood Sled, was seen as anticlimactic. Critics accused Wells of mocking the audience's need for closure. Studio executives panicked, thinking viewers wouldn't understand. But the ending's quiet melancholy was deliberate. It exposed the emptiness at the heart of ambition, suggesting that no matter how vast our empires become, what we lose in innocence can never be recovered. Today, Citizen Kane stands as a monument to cinematic daring, a film that made frustration itself into art. Number 1, Gone with the Wind, 1939 love burns to ashes. Audiences flocked to Gone with the Wind, expecting a sweeping love story to end in reunion. For nearly 4 hours, they watched Scarlett O'Hara fight for Rhett Butler, for love, for survival. And then in the final scene, he walks away. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Those 7 words sent shockwaves through theaters. Some called it romantic betrayal, others moral justice. The production code nearly banned the line for profanity, but the greater offense was emotional. The heroine's lifelong struggle ended in rejection. People wept, cursed, and argued in the aisles. Yet that very ending cemented the film's immortality. It dared to let love fail, and in doing so, captured the tragedy of a generation facing the end of an era. Epilogue, the power of an ending. Every one of these films was accused, at least once, of breaking faith with the audience. Yet every one of them endures. Why? Because cinema is not meant to comfort, it's meant to transform. When directors like Curtiz, Wilder, Hitchcock, and Wells defied expectations, they taught viewers that discomfort could be profound, that a story could end in heartbreak and still be beautiful. These films reminded us that the real art of cinema lies not in giving us what we want, but in showing us what we need. So, the next time the credits roll and you feel that ache of dissatisfaction, remember, history might one day call it genius. Which of these endings shocked you the most?